Guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the Civetta Scintilla. Now, this is based off the 0.25 update, but I'm just going to do a video review of this. So first, let's get on with the trims. Now, start off with the GT variant, and overall, I'm going to say this car is from the same brand as the Bolide, aka Ferrari. Now, it's basically a combination of the F8 and the SF90 for most of the trims. This one looks more like a McLaren GT, but SF90 and F8 combined. So we have the GT or the base trim. Comes with the Spider, so these four trims will be like the F8. So then we have the GTS, which is maybe a bit more sporty, like mid-trim variant, I'd say. And then we have Spider of that. The Off-Road, which is a custom one. And we also have the Police, which basically the same thing with the livery and some lights. And then we have the next one, the GTX, which is the all-wheel drive model with the higher revving engine. Now, we also have a custom model, and to be clear, the GTX, kind of a styling package, a little bit of an upgrade over this, a bit confusing, but we have a custom-based one with a body kit and some engine mods. We have this, which looks like a limited speed, top speed variant, kind of looks like a hybrid, I don't know yet, but so I have this variant, which looks like a rear-wheel drive version of this, like a track version, and then we have a Spider variant of that. So I have this one, which looks like a Batmobile, honestly. And then we have a rally version, we have a drag version, and a race version. So it is a pretty complicated lineup. So we're going to kick it off with the GT, just the base model, and let's give it a nice startup. As you can see, it sounds pretty good. Now, the next thing I want to do about this car is just styling. I think it looks good. The base model and the mid-trim GT are my favorite looking ones. They look simplistic, and that's just that. Now the rear, like this, basically this entire top part looks a lot like a Ford GT. The engine model, I'm gonna say that looks more like a Ferrari, honestly. But it is basically, I'd say they put in a lot of cars into this. Say F8, SF90, and some body vibes from the Ford GT. Now, I'm going to show you some of the cool features of this car I've never seen before in any other vanilla car in Beamng. So first we have the door handles. Now 0 is the button to operate them, but there are these little hinges here which you can touch, and it does look pretty cool. Not like a Ferrari, honestly, but like, is it different? Now as for the interior, it looks kind of like a Ferrari and an Aston Martin combined into one. Does look very exotic. Now the cool thing is you can use these buttons to toggle stuff, which I've never seen before in any other car. This can toggle the parking brake on and off. It's like this can toggle the hazards, and oh, that can toggle the axle lift. I've never seen that before. And we also have the launch control. I've never actually used that, but yeah. So yeah, so I've never seen those controls before. And let's go over the indicators. Indicators look like this. I'm not going to go over these things for every single trim. Yeah, inside you have the indicator beacon. Headlights, sadly, don't light up anything on the interior. Kind of disappointing, but like no one really drives in this game at night. Alright, now let's put this thing into a Corsa mode or Sport. Now, it is like a real life Ferrari where they have Corsa and Sport mode, and it does rip a lot. Likes to move. Now, this is rear-wheel drive, but you don't really notice it that much, and it is definitely way more controllable than the Bolide. Because the thing with the Bolide, you need a lot of skill to drive it. This one, it feels definitely more easier, and this is in sport mode. Okay. As for the damage, it does hold up pretty good, and this does not have AEB, even though it says that. Definitely stronger than a Bolide. It does feel a lot bigger than a Bolide, but the handling is a bit more sharp, but you do feel the weight sometimes. But this thing pulls. It is much faster than the Bolide. Revs higher, and again, this is just the base model, and it is pretty fast. A bit too fast, in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of this car. It's a cool car, but you know, and it's a weird looking crash. The crash fix on this car are pretty good. But the one thing is the side crashes get pretty nasty because of that door, and I'm gonna try to open this door. It'll get pretty nasty. Now, I'm gonna move on to the next variant. Got some more things there. So we're gonna quickly hop over to the next one, my favorite one, the GTS. Now I'm gonna get the Spider for this. I'm probably not gonna use the convertible trim that much, so I might as well just use it with this one. Now, it's not exactly a full-fledged convertible because in the description it does say it's a Targa, which it is a Targa. Even looks like it. Let's take a look at this. Now, the GTS looks pretty similar. It has different wheels and maybe it has a bit of a sportier front bumper and fascia. Now, I forgot to mention about the wing of this car. Now, it works pretty similarly to the one on the SPR4. As in, when you're in normal, like, comfort mode for this car, which for this car, comfort mode is Strata. I don't really know these modes. It's from, like, Ferrari or Lamborghini, I know that. It's like, in Strata, it mostly stays down and then it just goes up, and when you brake hard, it does. When you put in Sport, it goes down and stays down most of the time, similar to Comfort. When it's in, what's this, Corsa, it stays up always. Oof, okay. It stays up always, and when you're in drift mode, it gets even higher, and when you brake, it obviously slows down. Now, the next thing I want to point out is maybe just the little interior differences. This one does have a much nicer orange Napa leather interior, but other than that, it is pretty similar. And pointing out the gauges are pretty similar to the one on the Cherry FCV. Changes color depending on what mode you're in. So right now, traction control off. In sport mode, then Corsa, then drift. Has it like that for many different modes. And yeah. Now I'm gonna move on to the next trim of this car, which is gonna be, I believe it is where is it? I can find it. The GTS. Well, I'm not gonna go over the police variant. It's the same thing as this. It just has lights and all. I'm just gonna go over the off-road variant, which is a custom one, and I'm really not gonna go in depth into this one because I don't know what this will be useful for. Like, honestly, there are much better off-road cars than this. Just wait for it to load in. And it's still loading. Okay. So this thing looks very weird. Looks like it has a diesel engine. Okay, this thing is strange looking. So basically, it looks like this is like an off-road derby car. And I don't really like this car. I'm just gonna leave it at, if you want to off-road it's a supercar, well, here you go. Just gonna quickly take a look at the damage. And it actually holds up better than the normal variant. But honestly, I'm just not into the off-road variant. Now, the thing about this car is the SPR4 and the Civetta Scintilla. I'm honestly gonna say, as for handling, I think this is much better. But the Hirochi, I think that's more dailyable because this is the first like modern supercar we've gotten in this game. And I must say, for that, it is pretty good for a modern supercar. So we're gonna go over the GTX trim now. Which is, I guess it's a notch above the one we were just driving, the GTS. It's a notch above it. There's a bit of more violent exhaust, but I don't really notice that much speed. But this thing is a bit more jumpy, but they all just look like trims. And, yeah. I think it sounds almost the same, so yeah. Nice interior vibe with this. We have black and some blue accents, and we also have this teal pattern. Now, I'm gonna get on to the next trim, but I'm actually gonna hop onto the highway. So I kind of want to see how these things do in a straight line, which in a straight line, these cars are pretty good. And the thing is, they're good at handling too, which I think the Volide, even though it handles good, but it's kind of uncontrollable, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to move on to the next trim, which I think this one's probably going to be a bit more interesting, because we've basically been circling around within the same trim. So we're going to move on to the Velocita, which looks like a futuristic. I don't even know if this is electric. I haven't seen this variant before. So now for spin. Now, off the bat, the wheels do look odd, and I honestly think this car is ugly. Just a bit too modern. Same interior as before, though. Looks like we have some Alcantara accents in. This car is a hybrid, as you can see. We have Strada, Sport, and then Velocity. I don't know if this is a hybrid. I still can't find out. It's like this thing is much faster. This thing is made more for top speed. Obviously, I'm gonna put in Velocity, which is the mode. It's gonna reach top speed, and this is the fastest car we've gotten in Beamng. Like the ESPR4 is pretty fast, but this is much faster. Like the ESPR4 is probably faster up to like, I'd say like 60 miles per hour, and then after this does slow down. Try to control this, and nope, I can't control this end. Oof. It's using the barrier to slow down. Alright. So, that's basically this trim. Now, that's pretty much it for this trim. Now, the next trim I'm going to get, I'm actually probably going to take it out to the track, as the name says. Find it. The GTS course. So now for this trim, we're going to alternate and get the Spider. And let's see what color do I want. I actually want purple with this. I want to see how it looks like. So this car, I get a lot of Huracan STO vibes from. It's just as ugly, no offense, but the STO and this, they both look a bit ostentatious for my taste. So let's take it out to the racetrack to see if it's much different. Which this is pretty much, I think this is the closest we're going to get to a stock race track version, I think. Okay, so let's get onto the racetrack. It's gonna go this way. As for looks, this car is basically, I guess it's like an STO. It looks very similar to that. You have a rear wing. It's a bit lower to the ground. You have some neat looking new wheels on it. Some carbon ceramic brakes, painted in gold, which I think I can change it now. This one also does have a Alcantara interior. We're gonna take it out for a spin on the track. So I'm gonna put this in. Honestly, don't understand any of these drive modes. It's confusing. Corsa it is. And cornering this thing is pretty good. Yeah, I went too fast there. It's like comparing this to the Bolide. None of these are my favorite track cars in this game because they're just a bit too fast for my taste. As for Beamng, like the better race cars are probably like race-tuned versions of the Corvette or the Sunburst. And if you notice, they do have a bit more debounce for the wheels in this update. As in, if you pull it this way, it'll debounce the other way. Now, the next thing about this car is that it does go over the bumps a bit more harshly compared to the GTS trims. It is way lower to the ground and it is a bit less useless on the regular roads. Now, it does sadly it's already getting stuck in the sand here. It is decent for drifting though, which I actually have not tried drift mode in this game yet. Now, oh, this car doesn't have drift mode, okay. I'm gonna go one of the final variants of this car. So, we're gonna get started with the, now I'm probably gonna do the Dark Owl. Just for, why not? Probably not going to do the drag variant because I'm not really into the drag variant, honestly. So this basically looks like a special edition and it's basically a race car. And it does have a manual transmission. And honestly, this car looks very weird. Oh, no. Yeah, this car is very fictional looking and honestly, I think this car is pretty ugly, not gonna lie. Yeah. The interior looks pretty more like a racetrack version. Now, I'm gonna try the true race version to see how that compares to the. Let's go. So we have the drag version here. Now I want to try the race. Now this is sequential. That's gonna be interesting because I haven't really seen a sequential version of the Bullite. All the Bullite race cars were manual. So I'm gonna see how this is compared to the Bullite race car, which, oh, this is a manual. It's sequential manual, I keep forgetting now. So for drive modes, we have this and we have race, so it's only two. Comparing this to the Bullite, which we love it and we hate it for racing, this thing is way more controlled, but it's still not controlled. It still will get sideways if you can't control it. It doesn't move. The paint job on it looks pretty good. Yeah. See, there's a lot of brake fade on this car. Noticing it. And it does rip much faster than the Bullite. Yeah. I'm just not good at this. Now, the final variant I'm gonna go over is gonna be the drag one. Now, because the reason being, the rally one is just as similar as the race one. It's sequential, it does have rally suspension, but it's not really good at what it does. So we're gonna take the drag one out for a spin. Now, with my knowledge, there's no drag version of the Bullite. This thing has nitrous. Just bolted onto here. So I'm gonna take this out to the drag strip. You know, I'm not even gonna bother doing that. I'm just gonna put this in the air. Where is it? I'm trying to find the drag strip. Ah, it's over there. Let's place it in the air. Oh. Okay. That was weird. I don't know if that's a good or anything, but yeah. So I'm gonna see how nitrous goes with this car, which honestly I don't really use nitrous, and I haven't seen it on a drag car before. So I just inject it. Let's go. Oh. Oh. And the nitrous does seem to be doing its job. This is pretty fast. The launch on this car is pretty bad for a drag car, but it is one of the fast drag cars, and it's pretty easy to operate. I didn't even need to launch it in. This thing's gonna fly pretty hard. Oh wow. I've never seen a car fly all the way up to the road back there. Okay, it just likes to explode, this car. Just as much as the Bullite. And just like the Bullite, the frame on this car just likes to separate. So I actually want to talk about the frame about this car, which, like, overall just going over the structures, like, it's like usually, sometimes the door system does glitch out, so if you want to yank the door open, it is actually difficult with this car. Quite difficult, because it's hard to open. It's kind of hard to open on this car, like, and I actually want to see if it'll still open with the motorized thing in. Nope, it's not gonna open. Let's open. Now, that's gonna be it for this video. I will do more reviews on newer Beamng cars, probably mods, and have a nice day.